Hello, everybody. It's time for Great Ace Journey. Sorry we're a little bit late. It was hot dog time. And Josh was voting until kind of recently also.
Hey, don't put this on me.
It's mostly the hot dog thing.
I was back with 10 minutes. It was entirely. I was standing up there talking to you guys because you were making hot dogs actively. I could have just come downstairs. I was home at like 20 to the top of the hour. Acting like my civic duty is the reason we're late.
Nah, it's the hot dog thing. All right.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. Go
vote.
New
witnesses have been called. It was, well, we can't see them right now. It doesn't say. He just said bring in the witnesses. But I believe it was
One should be Caden.
Caden, that's the one.
Caden?
Yeah.
Something like that.
One of them was Caden, one of them was Daly, and I think that Van Zeeks is still up there.
Oh, I'm popping out the chat. You know, I bet you in all the hot dog controversy, I've completely forgotten to fill up my water. Oh no, I filled it up, then drank it all while we were talking about hot dogs.
Well, so it goes.
We weren't talking about hot dogs, we were talking about Magic the Gathering. A hobby that I am yet still enthralled by. Though I only buy secret layers now, at least. The downside is there's still a lot of those. But I haven't bought normal product in a while. Would the witnesses state their names and occupations for the court, please? I, Benny Caden, Governor of Barclay Prison. I forgot he did that.
Everyone called me Gotham. I felt John. Your other persona, if you don't mind. Oh, I do beg your pardon. Of course. Why does that require a whole fade out? You could have just changed poses. My name is Daily Vigil. I used to be the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
The reason you've been summoned here to court today is to testify about the jailbreak of the so-called professor 10 years ago. What? The professor? We've already been through this all before, a decade ago. And the conclusion was that there was anything untoward happened.
A convict escaped from your prison, Governor. Hardly what you'd call nothing untoward.
Well... Same, man.
The convict's death certificate was somehow falsified after he was allegedly executed, and he escaped the prison inside his own coffin. A plan of that complexity could never have been carried out without the help of somebody of influence inside the prison.
Governor Caden. Caden? What are we going with?
I don't know.
No, you and I have to decide.
Oh, I see.
I won't do this every time. Caden?
I think Caden, probably.
Sure. Governor Caden, don't imagine that the passage of time will afford you any protection. I don't believe in the statute of limitations. If it turns out you were involved in a plot to break Mr. Asugi out of prison, then of course, the consequences will be very serious. In all likelihood, a capital punishment.
What?
We'll kill you for it! God,
you
hold that!
I didn't do that one.
Hold on there, laddie. All I did was... Witness! Governor Caden. Hey, sir. You have a critical role. Huh? Like like Matthew Mercer?
Yep.
They haven't done it. They're still, like, in good favor, right?
Yeah, they're still good.
Okay, good. Cool. I assumed. I don't keep up with anything
Matt Mercer
anymore, so, you know.
Fair. Matt Mercer has like a ton of acting gigs still. He's in everything. He's Sakamoto in Sakamoto Days, which I watched the first couple episodes of and should get back to at some point.
How was it? Did you enjoy it?
Pretty good. I was having a good I haven't really watched anime in a while, like recent anime at least. It was pretty good. I didn't read the manga because I don't read because reading's for nerds, but like, you know, anime's pretty good. He's also Majima in the new Like a Dragon games, including the pirate one that's coming out in like a week or two.
Oh, are you excited about that?
Yes, incredibly. It looks like it's gonna be rad.
Excellent. I know that you're a big fan of that scallywag Majima. All I know is that he shows up out of trash cans or something.
Yeah, Yakuza 1, 2, I think it's 2 has the Majima Everywhere system where he just kind of pops up in places. And you have to fight him. He just sort of shows up to kick your ass. Tenacious guy.
You have a critical role to play in the public safety of our country. A great responsibility to shoulder. The significance of your testimony in court cannot be understated. Therefore, think carefully before you speak. And Prosecutor Asagi, if you threaten the witness again, you'll be held in contempt of court. My apologies, my lord.
There's no disputing the fact that an intricate jailbreak plot was enacted 10 years ago. Clearly, you were both involved in some way. So you will testify before the court now and explain exactly what took place.
Very well. Let the witnesses give their formal testimony. Tell the court everything you know of the plot to break Asagi out of Barclay 10 years ago.
We don't know nothing, they just both say.
I don't know nothing, man. They just like drop their accents somehow. They both turn into New Yorkers. I don't know nothing about nobody. It was the day the Japanese jock was found guilty. The directive came from the prosecutor's office. They assigned the convict to Chief Warder Vigil here and put the plan into action behind the scenes.
Oh, they're just admitting to it. Tight. I was responsible for Asagi right up until the night of his execution, but I knew nothing of any plot.
I didn't ken that there were some negotiations between the convict and the prosecutor's office. All I did was carry out my duty for Her Majesty's Great British Empire.
A directive from the prosecutor's office? Are you saying that there was the jail... Are you saying that was the jailbreak plot?
Aye, that's right. Who sent it? Who authorized the plan?
I'm not gonna say that. He's sitting right fucking there.
I didn't ken that. You're saying you don't know? Obviously, what are you deaf? Listen, there wasn't a thing about the Professor case that was unusual in some way. I did not ask any questions. I just did what I was told to do. More than that, I couldn't tell you.
I see.
But if the jailbreak plan blah, 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 originated from the prosecutor's office, then one thing is very clear. This window, as suspected, there were clandestine dealings going on between Mr. Asagi and that office. The jailbreak was promised in exchange for Mr. Asagi admitting to crimes he didn't commit.
Speculation. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That counsel is nothing more than speculation on your part. So, let me ask the defense.
Oh, yes, my lord.
I fail to see how these witnesses have any more pertinent information here. Do you intend to assert your right to cross-examination?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I have no intention of squandering a single opportunity, my lord.
It seems all you Japanese are fiercely tenacious. Very well. Proceed, counsel.
Proceeding. Cross-examination. Oh, we still only have 3 lives. Hold it! And you say you don't know who actually issued the directive?
Aye, that's right. All can be sure of. as that was official. But if it was from the prosecutor's office, that narrows down who could have issued it straight away. And it wasn't me! Hi, hello, I'm still here. I cannot even say with certainty that it did originate from the prosecutor's office.
What?
There's no telling where it started. There's a fair chance it came from higher up the ladder. The Queen herself! Rod. I cannot give you any indication of who was behind it.
You can't be serious.
All we can say for sure is that the order must have come from somebody in authority, I suppose. Like to us on the ground, as it were. Didn't bother with the idle speculation. We just get the job done.
Find the convict of the chief, order Vigil, and put the plan into action. Hold it! So, Mr. Vigil, you didn't know anything about it at all? That's right. My only role in this scheme was as a scapegoat. That's right, isn't it, Governor? Yeah.
Some poor beggar had to take the rap for it.
It's kind of fucked up that they did it to the guy who worked there for 10 years.
Alright then. Who else did know about the plan? I've no the first idea, laddie. My whole part in the whole business was basically just dealing with the aftermath. But I wouldn't be surprised if there were some other folk in the prison service who had been given similar orders.
So you don't know who else was involved?
Aye, that's alright. All I can tell you is that the night it actually happened, the person at the reins was Dr. Stevens.
Dr. Courtney Stevens, or Dr. Scythe as she's known now. Why did I have to get caught up in such a terrible business? Responsible for Oski right up until the night of his execution, but I knew nothing of any plot. I think that's maybe not true, but we'll see what he says. Did you not notice anything unusual happening in the lead up to that night? Oh, everything was unusual. Exception after exception. After all, it was the professor. The man had terrorized the country as never before with his crimes. In order to hide his identity, he was forced to wear an iron mask over his head.
Hideous treatment. The fellow was surprisingly docile for someone who'd taken the lives of 5 of the country's nobles.
Being the chief warder, I was the only person permitted to approach his cell. I can still hardly believe that I was duped by my own country. I believe you jumped from the window of the governor's office when the jailbreak was blamed on you, didn't you?
Wash, Vigil. I can't apologize enough.
No, Governor. I don't believe you can. It won't change what's happened. Damn. Savage.
And what else can you tell us? And what else can you tell us about the situation, Governor Caden?
If there was some negotiation. Hold it. But you've already acknowledged that orders came from the prosecutor's office to arrange for the man's escape. There must have been some sort of negotiation. It's the only explanation.
Aye, well. Be that as it may, I didn't ken anything about that. The witness stand is no place for telling you what. Don't know for sure. I ken that much I do. And I presume you also know this. Not telling what you know is a criminal offense. So you were just following orders, is that it? I'm afraid that won't absolve you of guilt here.
A man was still killed illegally, even if he was a condemned criminal. You may very well be found complicit in murder, Governor.
So, what what's it? What it's to be? What?
That's
So that's what it's. Okay, there we go. My brain was not registering that one for a second. So that's what's it's to be, is it? Even the threat of conviction. With the threat of conviction, you won't break your silence.
carry out my duty. Hold it. Did you carry out the plan in its entirety?
I did everything I could at the time. As you know, Genshin Asagi was shot dead in the Low Gate Cemetery after the escape. Tell me, was that part of the plan too? My instructions were nothing to do with getting the Duke. What are to do with getting the Duke out of the jail and nothing more? I cannot tell you anything about what happened after that. Only, personally, I believe his death was the last part of the plan.
Uh-oh. He's rotating. Hold on, did he rotate? Yeah, he's clipping through Kaiden right there at the... just kind of slooshing through his shoulder a little bit.
Whoa!
Excuse me. Mr. Vigil, is something wrong? I'm gonna go with yes. Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir? He's saluting now? What is it, some sort of Barclay convention? What Governor Kaiden was just saying seemed to upset you. Did it bring something to mind, perhaps? For the last 10 years, I've completely blotted out the memories of that time from my mind. I was betrayed by my superiors in the name of my country.
Just as my father was betrayed, it seems.
Oh shit, that was your dad? I'm sorry, man. That's fucked up.
Wow, Rip.
But you see, thinking back now, I really can't imagine that the shooting of Mr. Asagi in the cemetery was ever part of the plan. What makes you think that? Well, it just doesn't make sense, does it? To make the man admit to crimes he didn't commit with the promise of a jailbreak only to kill him in the end. That's treachery of the worst kind. But the point is, if the intention was always to betray him, why would there be any need for all the chicaneries of an escape? Ah!
Yes, that's quite true. If whoever Heimsley, who had negotiated with Asagi, never intended to keep his or her or their or its end of the bargain, it would have been far simpler just to let the man be executed in prison as dictated by his sentence. It all happened in that vast chamber of secrets that is Barclay, behind the high prison walls. I suppose nobody knows what really went on in the execution room now. Gory spawns in. Just feel like my mother does. Yes, it's an unsettling mystery, certainly. Truth be told, there is a wee matter that's never quite made sense to me.
Huh?
If you believe there's some kind of negotiation behind the jailbreak between Asagi and the body at the top, it doesn't quite add up, does it?
Governor Kaiden, I must insist that you explain these doubts that you have by amending your formal testimony.
Yes. Aye, go on then.
I love when he just stares angrily. I mean, the Japanese fella, didn't they?
No, this would be me.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the Japanese fella didn't have anything to bargain with.
I'm gonna press that, but I'm betting that's the Asagi papers somehow.
Yeah, because we still haven't unwrapped the full mystery.
But we still don't really know what those mean. Admitting to the crimes, that was what he had to bargain with, surely.
I kind of see that myself. After all, did the prosecution not have conclusive evidence against the Carly, eh? This, you mean, discovered during the final victim's autopsy. There's every possibility this conclusive evidence was fabricated by Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Possibilities are all very well, but nothing has been proven. You can holler about misconduct in the trial 10 years ago all you like. But if you can't establish that it happened with hard evidence, no one's going to listen. Then I won't be hard. Aye, that's right. So what I'm saying is, the convict had nothing he could use for any kind of bargaining at all. The witness makes an astute point. Logically, it would seem no negotiation could have taken place.
And yet the plan to break the man out of prison was definitely put into practice. So he must have been armed with something that gave him an angle to negotiate. American Josh is playing Slay the Spire.
Yeah?
So Asagi-san agrees to confess to the
Wanna
crimes
say
because he
something
was
about it?
was assured he'd broken out of the
Yeah.
prison later.
Listen, if it makes you feeling better throughout the course of an entire stream, I get maybe like 2 actual combats done of like the 30 that are in a run. I essentially have to just sit here, not making any progress in Slay the Spire and read.
It do be like that sometimes.
I really don't think Kazuma-sama's father would have engaged in such negotiations.
And perhaps something compelled him to agree.
What a terrible thing, using the law to legitimize such underhand dealings with a desperate man. Only to double-cross him in the end. It's quite the opposite of justice.
I can't help feeling there's something about this apparent negotiation that doesn't quite add up.
Something doesn't quite add up, Mr. Naruto.
No, it doesn't, but I can't quite put my finger on what yet.
Well, in that case, we must keep digging until we identify the problem.
Alright, I'm guessing the paper's on his last statement then, probably. Where was it? Here. Because we still don't know all his material possessions and wealth. Maybe there was something in there. Let's try it.
Do we have
Objection?
to...
Nope, yep, this seems to be it.
Okay.
Woo. I don't know what else it would be. He didn't have anything. They took all his shit.
So we just presented the ASCII papers themselves?
Yes. Confessing
Okay.
under oath
I was
to
gonna say,
murders he
that makes
didn't
sense.
commit on a verbal assurance of later being broken out of prison. Genshin Asagi was taking an incredibly risky gamble.
Very true. There was nothing to stop the British breaking their word and executing him behind closed doors anyway. Who would think the British capable of such a thing? Under normal circumstances, no man would stake his life on a gentleman's agreement like that.
Which means that Mr. Asagi must have had a trump card. Something that guaranteed he wouldn't be betrayed. Some kind of weapon.
Avarice! The fellow couldn't possibly have had anything like that.
But you know that he did, Governor. The Asagi Papers, the name given to the last will and testament of Genshin Asagi.
What?
Oh no, he's sweating now. Turns out that Mr. Asagi was hiding his will in his cell at Barclay. Chief Warder Vigil caught him with it one day. Oh God!
You squealed, did ya? You wee rat! Did I not tell you to keep that a secret?
You can't touch me now.
Ah!
When Mr. Vigil caught sight of that will through the bars of the convict cell, Mr. Asagi pleaded with the warder. All right then, but what's on that paper? I don't remember what voice I gave him for like the 2 lines he's had. We'll just make something up. A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
A weapon?
And after the convict had been killed following the elaborate pretense of the jailbreak, that document mysteriously disappeared, didn't it? Well, yes. All the prison warders searched through the belongings in his cell, but that will was just nowhere to be found. As I understand it, an exhaustive search was made for the document, which became known as the Asagi Papers. Governor Kaiden, I believe you ordered your prison staff to find it at all costs, didn't you? Would I be right in saying that you knew that the so-called Asagi Papers had the potential to make great waves somehow?
Kings, what advices are you blathering about? The will was found right and proper. In the fella's cell where I said it would be.
I bet these aren't the real papers. Shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, definitely not.
Well, how can that be? Where in his cell? I love that little slap he did, and he was like, ah!
My little hands! Oh, no, my little hands!
Top to bottom.
Well, you didn't do a proper job, you peely-wally galoot.
You can't criticize me now.
I shot to you for it. Did I know, young lawyer?
Yes, you did. I have the document here. It's written in Japanese and reads, The Last Will and Testament of Genjin Asagi.
Which means everything is as it should be.
Not quite, my lord. You see, there's an undeniable inconsistency here.
What? What inconsistency?
Mr. Asagi described this document as the only weapon he had left. And yet this will contains nothing of significance at all. Nothing that would have given the convict any leverage.
Are you suggesting, my learned friend, that the last will and testament stored at Barclay Prison all these years is actually a fake?
As has clearly been demonstrated already, what went on at Barclay Prison was far from above board.
It was below board. That last vilification by the defense was an affront to the entire British legal system. This absurd notion of a weapon is something for which we only have the former chief warder's word. The man could easily be lying, or at the very least, sorely mistaken.
What? No, I definitely heard him say that, I swear.
Clearly, we need to get to the bottom of this. Me to myself when I'm eating yogurt. We need to know exactly what happened with these so-called Asagi papers. A waste of time! The will was fake. Where is the real document?
Objection! Mr. Vigil was stabbed in the back by the judiciary 10 years ago. He lost everything, very nearly his own life. And now you're going to do it again. You're ready to brand him a liar and turn your back on him without ever letting him defend himself. Where the Barclay prison is hiding something. It's clear that the jailbreak was masterminded by someone in the prosecutor's office. It's clear that some illicit negotiations took place. Is your lordship just going to gloss over these obvious and the facts?
What did you say?
A Balrog of Markov. Have him testify again. This trial must go on. The man's voice must be heard.
It would seem that a few vocal here are utterly blind to the truth.
A vocal few as the entire fucking judiciary is chanting testify.
Very well then. Let the witness testify again. Tell the court precisely what you think you saw of the convict's last will and testament.
Yes, sir, my lord. Witness testimony. The Asagi Papers. As the warder responsible for condemned convicts, I attended to Mr. Asagi and kept watch over his cell. The night after he was found guilty in court, he was doing something with that will in his cell. We turned the cell inside out looking for it after the execution, but to no avail.
Only found out about the Asagi papers when the directive came telling me to impound them. The document was in the folds of the fellow's robes way up the cell. Kimono, I think it's called.
In his kimono? That's a lie. Ah! We searched every inch of the man's cell. We looked through all his clothes. It can't be true.
Are you not satisfied with calling me a liar once, eh? You wee waffinger. Waffinger?
There's nothing you could do about it now. You don't have any hold over me anymore. Other than the hold you like to take on my cravat, of course. Is that what you're going to do, is it? Are you going to give me a good shake again?
What the fuck is
or are you
this?
too scared?
Yeah!
Little and large. What a double act.
We complied with Atsugi's will as far as what possible. All his personal effects were delivered to his family home in Japan. As a courtesy to the homeland of the most notorious killer the country has ever seen.
Jack the Ripper had already happened by this point, guy. What do you mean?
Most notorious. And we are much obliged. I can confirm that all my father's belongings arrived safely. And you cannot deny the handwriting is that of your old man, eh? Yes, there's no mistaking that it's my father's brushwork.
Really?
And this last will and testament. Testament was the man's last weapon, was it? I think we can assume safely that the convict was merely prattling, knowing that his end was nigh.
I wish we could have, not that we can read Japanese, me and you personally, but I wish we could actually look at the thing so I could see if there's a code in it or something. Because, like, there's not an obvious one in it to me in the translation, but, like, you know.
Right. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Cross-examination. The Asagi papers. Hold it! So, would that mean that you conversed with Mr. Asagi? Yes, certainly. Though there was a precious little time there before his execution was due. He was remarkably calm considering his days were very much numbered. In all honesty, he really didn't strike one as a man capable of mass murder.
Yeah, he confessed in full to the crime.
I know. That's why I felt compelled to ask him one day. I can still recall his reply. I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life, yes. But he was so tranquil and intelligent, it put me in mind of an Eastern holy man. And what about the will you saw him with? What can you tell us about that? It was the beginning of all the drama. I remember it very well, yes.
Hold it!
Hold it! And he pleaded with you not to report him, didn't he? Yes, that's right.
And like the bump it, Jan. You didn't tell me. A blatant breach of trust that was.
Hilarious. Hilarious thing for him to say. I could see that the man had a noble spirit. I found myself wanting to treat him accordingly.
But according to what you told us 2 days ago, the convict had been strictly forbidden from having any writing materials whatsoever.
Yes, you're quite right. Ah, so when exactly was the will penned?
That was before the man was remanded in Berkeley, obviously. Yes, at the prosecutor's office, under supervision of the relevant authorities. I personally instructed Hasagi to make a will for the benefit of his family and his homeland.
In that case, why was it found in his cell?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if it was penned at the prosecutor's office, you would have expected that would remain there for safekeeping, surely.
Oh,
It's curious. There doesn't seem to be any obvious explanation for why it was subsequently found in the convict's cell.
oh, well. The defense makes an astute point. Good job, Ryunosuke.
Thanks. You're not letting me down for once.
Well, Governor. A prison governor cannot be expected to ken the inner workings of the prosecutor's office. In that case, Lord Strongheart, perhaps you can shed some light on the matter.
No!
I'm unable to offer an explanation here and now.
Huh?
I would have to consult with the notary responsible for the will at the time.
That's clearly horseshit.
The fact that my father's will was discovered in his cell is clearly inconsistent with what was expected. I want to know why.
Another inexplicable mystery, then. Well, the thing is about that will. You're in the cell inside out, look at it after the execution. Okay, hold it! It was the governor who ordered the search for the will, as I understand it. Is that right? Yes. And when I reported back that we couldn't find it, he grabbed me by the cravat and yelled, "It can't have disappeared completely," in my face.
It's due to the governor to keep everybody working as hard as they should. I think the governor needs a wee taste of his own medicine, Mr. Naruto.
The point is, it was clearly considered a very important document, wasn't it?
But it proved impossible to find.
That's right. And before I knew it, I was in the morning paper, that blood-curdling article. The executed mass murderer had risen from the dead.
Oh! You mean...
The article based on Mr. Drebber's experience in Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, that was it. The day after I'd read that news, I was summoned to the governor's office. And that's when the awful accusation was made. That you'd aided Genshin Asagi to escape from the prison, resulting in your immediate dismissal. I'm afraid I really don't remember anything after that.
As the governor of the prison, I had no choice. I couldn't have done anything else.
I found out about the blah blah blah. Hold it! And that directive came from the same source as the one instructing you about the jailbreak?
Aye, from the top levels of the prosecutor's office. What name was on it?
Your mother?
I did not ken. I thought I did not know. All I can tell you is that my orders were nothing were to do with everything in my power to find that document. The directive said it had to be somewhere inside the fellow's cell.
Document. Was that the wording? Document, not will?
Aye, that's what I said.
Am I clutching at straws here? I just wonder if it was really Genshin Asagi's last will and testament that the sender of that directive was after.
No.
Almost, definitely
It was
not.
some sort of state secrets nonsense or
Again.
something. Or maybe just his account of what actually happened.
Yeah.
Continue with your testimony then, witness.
Documents in the folds of the fellow's robe. A kimono.
Hold it!
Hold it! In Mr. Asagi's kimono?
Aye, the one he brought with him when he was locked up.
Yes, he was permitted to have his personal effects with him during his incarceration, I understand.
That's alright. He was granted as much freedom as possible during the few days before his execution.
Indeed, he had a number of items of personal significance, I remember. He was very reluctant to part with them. Some books, that kimono, his sword. His sword?
Karma, the famous sword of the Asagi clan. It bears the soul of my family.
I don't doubt it, but I wasn't really getting at that. Forget it being the soul of the clan. Could the man have had a more obvious weapon?
Have some respect, Ryunosuke.
Respectful silence?
Warders carry firearms at all times, and the inmates have shackles around their ankles. He couldn't have hurt anybody with that thing.
Still, he was allowed a sword, but no writing materials?
Aye. He wrote that will before he came to stay with us at Berkeley, you see. The Mikitoba was asked to bring the necessary Japanese writing implements to the prosecutor's office. A Zuzuri inkstone, black sumi ink, and some Hanshi rice paper, no doubt. I was present when he wrote it, but I'm sorry to say,
Is that right?
the letters just look like a squirming mess of jet black earthworms. Earthwerums.
Earthworms. No, you said it correctly
Earthworms
by
to me.
accident.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Are you feeling faint, Mr. Vigil? Mr. Vigil! Sir! It was Scarlet, sir. Huh? What? Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Was the ink?
I didn't mean to
Scarlet?
blurt it out like that. Did he fucking write it in his own blood?
I sure hope so. That'd be metal.
Less swaying and more explaining would be helpful.
Something about the testimony we just heard? Have you recalled something of importance?
Banned for swearing, Molo guy?
Oh, Mole guy?
Imagine if that's the thing that finally got him.
Hey,
Kind of
fuckers. Not swearing at all, really?
Something of importance. Possibly, or possibly not.
I'm unable to tell which way he's leaning, I'm afraid.
My lord, the defense asked that Mr. Vigil be permitted to supplement his testimony with this possibly or possibly not important detail.
Insane phrase. Permission granted?
Go ahead, Mr. Vigil.
The finale? We don't know, Malachi. Hopefully.
We've only
I mean,
got
not
we
like
started
it's
late.
bad or anything, but like
We started late, and it's been an hour. It's been 45 minutes, so who knows? Yes, it was Scarlet. As I remember it, the document was written in scarlet ink, but perhaps I'm mistaken. And we'll press that, and then we'll present the papers, which I presume are not written in scarlet ink. Scarlet, you say? Well, yes. I mean, I only caught sight of it for a brief moment, of course. But even by the dim light in the cell, I remember thinking that it was an unusual color. At the very least, I'm quite sure it wasn't black.
yes.
I hear screaming from the other room. I hope everything's cool.
I assume she's just gaming.
It's gotta just be gaming.
I hear a lot of screaming from upstairs, and I'm like, it's gotta be gaming.
It's just gaming.
She's in
I
fact
hope.
streaming.
I thought she wasn't streaming. Or is she streaming
She
with
is
someone else?
fighting a Balrog.
Oh, they are playing Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Malachi, what are you doing here? Alice is streaming. Get out of here!
No, stay, please.
No, motherfucker, get out of
Yeah,
here!
she's probably screaming about Cave Troll number 7 or whatever the fuck then.
If I had to guess, yeah. That would make sense to me. Is that really what you saw?
Ah, what? Sir? Ah, is something wrong, Lord Strongheart? He looks like something's
No.
wrong.
I apologize. Continue. What do you make of that, Mr. Naruto? For Lord Strongheart to be so visibly shaken in that way. Oh, didn't have it. Didn't have it. You can plainly see the writing here. It's as black as the Earl of Hell's waistcoat.
That's a fun phrase. Well, yes, you're right. Mr. Vigil, I'd like to confirm one point with you. Did you actually see the content of the document that Mr. Asagi was holding that night? Oh, well, no. I mean, there was no time. As soon as he noticed me there, he hid it behind his back. But it was definitely a will, was it? Yes, it was. That's what Mr. Asagi told me.
The court need waste no further time on this matter. We have the will in question in our possession. There is nothing more to add.
A will written in scarlet ink. What did Mr. Vigil really see Kazuma's father holding, I wonder?
If you have an inkling, Mr. Naruto, you must present it to the court at once.
Do we have something that
Do
was
you
written
get it?
in red? The testimony doesn't give much away.
So this will really was penned by Kazuma-sama's father. I wonder what he possibly could have meant when he described it as a weapon.
It's starting to sound very much like Mr. Asagi actually had nothing.
But the plan to break him out of jail went ahead, which means he must have had some sort of bargaining power. He must have been hiding something. It's the only explanation that makes any sense.
It's starting to sound like Mr. Asagi might have actually had something.
Which is it, Mr. Naruto?
I'm not sure, but I feel as though I'm on the brink of understanding all this. Let's listen to all the information again and see what more we can learn. We can't even overlook even the smallest detail.
Absolutely.
We did this one, Found out about the document was found in the kimono. What was in the scarlet ink? Do we have anything from the time written in scarlet ink? Probably not, right? This
I don't
was,
think so.
yeah, this is nothing.
That's nothing.
One hand left. Passport. Grab from Japan. No. Like, my thought is maybe
You
he
could
hid
click on
something
that one
this-
thing.
on the
Yeah, can we unwrap that? Is that
Karma, the
secretly
Great Blade.
text?
It's such a thing of beauty, I want to gaze on it for hours.
Can we unwrap the sash thing? Is that anything?
Oh, hey, did he fix the sword? Oh, no, it's still broken.
No.
Well, we can still
can
click
click on
on
the
it,
tip,
so
though.
might as well.
We might as well.
The tip of the great sword, broken. It's such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Karuma's sobs. Kazuma must have really taken a swing for that to happen. Why would it let us unwrap this if it were irrelevant? I mean, I guess just to look at the broken sword from earlier,
Flavor.
but like... Let's have a look inside. Oh, I thought I remember the tip having, like, blood on it or something, but I guess not. The tip
No, I
of
don't think
Karma
so.
said this is how it was broken. Cosmo's swordsmanship is second to none. I can't believe he'd misjudge it like that.
Clearly, he wasn't in his right mind. He didn't have full control over the power in his stroke, Too distracted by malicious thoughts, perhaps.
Well, that wouldn't be surprising. After all, he was on an assassination mission.
An assassin exchange, if you will.
Assassination exchange. 31st October. So this passport is for the day before Gregson's body was found. He needed this document for his trip to France. And when it says permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel, I can't believe it was you, Kazuma. Why can I click on this a second time? Okay, it's nothing. Got it.
It's just not marking it off for some reason.
Oh no, there was blood on the case. There wasn't blood on the sword.
Oh man, that's what it was.
I'm not sure what it wants here.
Kyle, let's take a step back here, quick.
All right. I mean, maybe it just wants us to present the papers again, but I don't see how that helps.
We could try it. Let's try that, and then.
Eh? Nope. The music didn't stop.
Nope.
My lord, as counsel for the defense, I must object to that last statement.
As a judge, I must deny your objection. There's no contradiction here.
Oh.
No contradiction, other than the fact that a Far Eastern lawyer is practicing in a British courtroom.
Put there by a not-so-far-away Lord Chief Justice, if you remember. The document was written in scarlet ink by Rap. Well, sometimes I know... it's done this a couple times, too, where, like, we unlock new testimony and that unlocks new stuff in the presenting.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just press everything and fast forward and see if new text pops up.
If new text comes up, yeah.
Blah, blah. Nope, wasn't that one.
Hold it!
How about this one, eh? Wrote them in there. Unable to comment at this time. About the will, no. Gonna sell inside out looking for it after the execution, but no avail. Ah. He just wiggles at him aggressively. How fast his arms go akimbo.
Hold it!
Hold it. I guess we didn't see the text before we said excuse me, so maybe that has some, or after that, so maybe that's something? Found in the fellow's robe. Press.
Hold it!
Sword. Screaming back Jethook earthworms to me. Alright, this is new
My
text.
father.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Maybe.
My father had a passion for calligraphy. He found the profound black color of sumi ink to be very soothing. I'm sure the cursive Japanese script must look utterly incomprehensible to English eyes. And that's the document that was found in the fellow's kimono. Despite the seriousness of his crimes, he was treated in a gentlemanly fashion till the end. When he was callously betrayed and shot dead in a dark cemetery in the middle of the night. Yes, the gentlemanliness of it is overwhelming.
Do I sense sarcasm down there? Yeah, that didn't really get us anything new.
Hold it!
I'll do this one again just to be sure, but... Like, this seems like it must be it, given that Strongheart freaks out, but I don't think that we have anything that's written in red, nor proof of blood anywhere. Yeah, it's trying to sound. He didn't have anything. Go over all the information again. Okay. We've got all the information we're gonna have, I think.
Can I see the history? You could do it that fast.
When they're talking about, like, what to do next.
I want to see what they specifically says.
The testimony doesn't give much away. Wonder what he meant. Had nothing. You must have been hiding something. It's the only explanation that makes sense. It's starting to sound like he had something. Let's listen to all the information again, see what we can learn. We can't even overlook even the smallest detail. And the only new information we have is that it was written in red. There's no reason
I pressed on everything, right?
Yeah, we pressed everything. We skipped through everything. We made sure to get that last little bit from this testimony. I mean, we don't have the kimono, so that's not helpful either. Nothing on the sword. I really was hoping there'd be something on the sword, but there's nothing on the sword. I wanted there to be something on the sword because he was allowed to have the sword. And if he wasn't allowed any writing implements, I'm betting he used the sword to, like, cut himself and then write stuff in blood. But, like, we don't have anything that proves that.
What about the... Well, no, that's Clint's autopsy report. That's not very useful.
Yeah. Sport. Nothing on the ring, which he wasn't allowed to have anyway, because they stole it from him before this happened. I don't know. There's clearly nothing in this, because we already tried that. Gregson's autopsy report, that's not helpful. Escape. No, that's not helpful, I don't think. That wasn't... I have no fucking idea. Unless it's not on this that we're supposed to present. But I don't know.
Think it can't be that.
Because I don't think there's nothing with the kimono. Need a hint?
No.
No, not yet.
Never.
Document was in the folds of the fellow's robe that was left in his cell. There's no reason it couldn't have been other than that Daly said it wasn't, but it's not like we have the kimono. And about papers, Doctor came telling me to pound them. Like, none of these things are wrong. I know, I was found guilty. He was
We need to... He was doing something with that will in his cell. Is it something we have to do to the Asagi papers, like in our inventory?
The problem is that when we go into them, it only shows text. It's not like if we don't have the physical papers we can, like, spin around to look at. Like I said, if there's an obvious, like, code,
What do we have in here? Quickly, pull the rabbit.
I feel like it'll be a narrative dead end, not just me not understanding what we're supposed to do.
Click the rabbit's head.
I'm pulling it. But I want to know. Damn.
Piss.
We really don't have much from that time is the problem.
Oh, recent scarlet ink. That's Clint.
Stains visible on the little ring fingers of his right hand.
No
Wait a minute.
With oh, that's what
there.
it is.
We got
it.
It.
In the Clint report. The ink stains. Ah, there it was.
He didn't write that red ink. Fucking Clint did.
Clint wrote it. Okay. I thought because I was gonna.
Damn it!
You
this is wrong. Apparently,
one,
I did the wrong one.
No, you presented the Asagi papers. You dumb clown.
Well.
Why? Remember, this is a close court. What if fate befalls you in here? No one outside will ever know.
Should I be wondering if I'll make it out of this courtroom alive? Hold on. Yeah.
Anyways, present the right piece of evidence this time.
Lynn's
Thank you.
autopsy report.
You-
Did
you
I do the
left
passport by
the
accident?
No, you clicked the Asagi papers.
Oh, whoops.
Objection.
There
Because
we go.
we investigated the thing, and then you went into the present menu, which I thought you were already in. So you like exited the menu, went back in the menu, scrolled to the ASCII papers, and clicked it. I
Alright.
watched it happen live and in color.
Oops. Scarlet-colored writing is what you said you thought you saw, Mr. Vigil. And I believe that's exactly what you did see. What?
Barbarous again! You've no evidence to say that.
Have a look at this report.
That's my brother's autopsy report.
Yes, and there's something in here that's bothered me since I first read it. It states that scarlet-colored ink stains were noted on the fingers of the victim's right hand.
Yes, so it does.
Scarlet ink? Now, I'm not familiar with the habits of the British aristocracy, I freely admit. But I would hazard a guess that they don't all go around with ink stains on their fingertips, do they?
Your wit is not appreciated. My brother was a well-bred and fastidious man. Should ink have sullied his fingertips, he would have cleaned them immediately. What is your point, Counsel?
My point is this. Whatever Lord Clint Van Zeeks was writing in that unusually colored ink, it must have been directly before his death. Because he died before he had the opportunity to clean his hand.
What? Remember, something troubled me at the time. At the scene, the lid of my brother's inkwell was open.
Huh.
But Clint was...
Punctilious?
Well, it's either punctilious or punctilious for some reason. It is punctilious, alright? But Clint was punctilious about such things. It seemed unusual. And no document penned in the color of the ink in the inkwell was ever found. So the document had disappeared. Are you suggesting that the document my father had in his hand that night in his cell was...
The same document that Lord Clint Van Zeeks was writing moments before his death.
Then it was.
If Mr. Vigil's testimony is to be believed, it can only mean that, yes. Mr. Vigil! Sir! When you spotted Mr. Osugi with a document in his cell, his precise words were as follows, were they not? Alright then, but what's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
Ah, a last will and testament. Ah,
If the conversation really did go as Mr. Vigil says, then what we now know completely changes the meaning of what Mr. Osugi said.
you really think?
Mr. Vigil did indeed see the convict with a will, but it wasn't that of Genshin Osugi. It was the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeeks.
Yeah. What?
Objection.
This is all making sense. See, I knew we could figure it out.
Yeah, we
I was
we
even
had to
gonna
read.
say it. There's one point where I was like, "Oh, should we check the autopsy again?" I was like, maybe it was written in red ink for some inexplicable reason.
I was just gonna start clicking on documents that might have anything to do with ink.
This is madness. My brother's last will and testament. That would mean that he had chosen to die
That is what it would mean, yes.
No, impossible. That is utterly out of the question. Lord Van Zeeks. Clint was pursuing the professor. It consumed him all day and night. Whatever happened, he would never have abandoned his investigation before its conclusion. Never. He wouldn't rest until the job was done, until the killer was caught. The idea that he would willingly accept his own death, it's obscene.
Objection.
And yet we can be sure that he was writing his will moments before his death.
And that Genshin Asagi came to be in possession of that document. So what could the will possibly have contained?
Clearly something that couldn't be made public under any circumstances whatsoever. Because armed with that document, my father was able to negotiate with the judiciary for his life. It was something so damning that it prompted the powers that be to enact that daring jailbreak plot. Yes, there can be no question that the will contained information of the utmost secrecy.
Information of the utmost secrecy. Ah! No, it couldn't be.
My God. It's the reason that kids love Captain Crunch. I've heard more than enough. Pursuing this notion of a phantom will nobody can attest to having seen serves absolutely no purpose. No, my lord, that's unacceptable. What did you say, Counsel? The last will and testament that Genshin Asagi had in his possession was that of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. All the testimony and evidence presented to the court has logically led us to that as a possibility. We have a duty to pursue the line of reasoning to its conclusion.
No!
But with no possible means of knowing the contents of the will, there's no line of reasoning to pursue.
Van Zeeks seems mad.
Ugh.
A reason why Lord Clint Van Zeeks, a man of high noble standing, would have chosen death. Information so secret people in the judiciary would be willing to negotiate the jailbreak of a condemned killer. The only explanation that fits those facts is an unthinkable truth that turns absolutely everything on its head. But it's just too hideous.
Sir Naruto. However difficult the situation might become, you work with your client in pursuit of the truth. That's what you resolved to do when you entered the courtroom this morning, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Susato.
So hold your head high, keep soldiering on.
Yes, you're right. 10 years ago, in his final moments, Lord Clint Van Zeeks left behind a will. A will that Genshin Asagi was able to use as a weapon to negotiate his escape from prison. In all probability, the details in the will were related to the Professor case.
The defense's last statement is mere conjecture. What are you getting at, man? Ryunosuke?
As soon as these words come out of my mouth, there's no going back. I believe that the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zeeks was in fact an accusation or a confession.
I think Clint was the professor.
Ah, shit, dude.
I feel like it's got to be a confession, right?
We've only got one shot, so hopefully. Hold on, wait, I can save. In case this puts us
Well,
farther
okay.
back, we can just do this to get into it again.
I want to say confession.
Confession would be way fucking crazier. A report.
it's confession.
It's definitely not a report. That would be ridiculous.
I think that's why Van Zeeks is having this. Because it was just an accusation. I don't think Van Zeeks would be reacting the way he is.
Yeah.
I think he's figured it out too. That his brother was the
confession.
professor. You can do this, Mr. Naruto.
I believe that what Lord Clint Van Zeeks actually penned that day was a confession.
A confession?
Regarding the mass murderer known as the Professor. And his true identity.
Objection!
He's gonna be mad about that.
Enough. Counsel. What are you saying? Do you even realize? A confession about the true identity of the professor. That would mean...
Lord Van Zeeks, I appreciate that this must be hard to take in. But it's the only explanation that fits. The killer that terrorized London a decade ago and became known as the Professor. The man believed to have murdered 5 members of the aristocracy. Wasn't Genshin Asagi at all.
No. You can't be suggesting...
It was, in fact, the man believed to have been the 5th victim. Lord Clint Van Zeeks himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Ah! I'm gonna pick my mic. Ah! Wah! It's finally open, is it? Pandora's box.
They've been thoroughbreds, and Lord Clint Van Zeeks, he was a paragon of justice in the... Paragon? But he was actually a mass murderer, a perpetrator of
You wanna see two
atrocities of the
Johns.
vilest nature. If the general public ever found out, law and order in this country would blah, 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 blah.
My brother. This is too awful. Poor Lord Van Zeeks.
I wonder, though, did he never suspect?
Mr. Naruto.
Lord Barak Van Zeeks is a brilliant prosecutor. Is it conceivable that he didn't realize what his older brother really was?
Order! Order! Order in the court!
Lord Van Zeeks. The professor made use of an enormous hound as his murder weapon. Tell me, did your brother own a dog?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Balmung? Holy shit!
Album. He was a well-known hunting dog. People called him a giant. I don't believe this. When my brother would go hunting in the forest of the grounds behind the house, he always took Balmung. After Clint's death, the creature passed away too, almost as if he were following his master. He was a magnificent hunting dog, worthy of the jewel-studded collar around his neck. There it
A
is.
jewel-studded collar. With the B for Balmung, I assume.
Yep. Because I was wondering, like, because they said the
'cause that
professor
shit
killed
never
guys with
came
a
up
dog.
again.
Well, no, it was like they were like, oh, the professor killed people with a big dog, and I'm like, okay, how did Genshin Asagi get a big dog? He was from Japan. What it?
No,
Did
he
he
clearly
found a
did.
dog? He found a dog here, in a different land.
Just became friends
Just-
with a big dog. You know how it is. Trained it to kill.
I don't. That's right. So sadly. Some years ago now, it was stolen by a thief who broke into the house one night.
A jewel-studded collar stolen by a thief. It so happens that myself and my colleagues have come across such a collar during our time in London. What the fuck are you talking about?
How could you? There was an old emblem attached to the collar too, made of pure gold. It was topped with a small crown and bore an ornate capital letter B. What? An emblem bearing the initial B? Initial B is my favorite driving show. Oh my! You know it? It's the insignia
Oh,
of the Bakersville family.
the Baskerville.
Baskerville. Listen,
What? The Baskerville? Why is that name coming up now?
I was giving them an option for if they needed to Herlock Sholmes. Baskerville is the family name of my late brother's widow. The pure gold emblem was an heirloom which Clint acquired upon their marriage. There can be no doubt then that the collar you've described was valuable. Family insignia of Lord Clint Van Zeek's widow?
There was a considerable amount of blood on the collar when we saw it. Since we know the dog was used for hunting, it could have been from its quarry, of course.
But it could equally have been from human prey.
So is it true then? Clint Van Zeeks really was the professor. Impossible! These Japanese are making it all up to exonerate their own. So in fact, the person responsible for these murders of nobles and royals was a noble himself. And that threatened to be an enormous scandal that would irrevocably destabilize British society.
My father knew that and was using it to negotiate his way out of the unjust charges brought against him. But at the very last hour, those he had bargained with betrayed him, slaying him mercilessly on foreign soil.
Well, can you deny it, Lord Strongheart? Me?
10 years have passed. And still now, the 6 million inhabitants of our great capital rest easy believing that justice was done. That, though his anonymity remains, the diabolical murderer was caught and executed. Very well then, you may have the truth. Tell me then. Tell me what Clint really was. Lord Clint Van Zeeks was too pure of heart. When he became a prosecutor and went in pursuit of the black roots of crime, he drove himself into a corner. He came to the uncomfortable realization that to fight the most fiendish of criminals requires one to become even more fiendish oneself. He became the Punisher. Clint.
I feel like
Do you think this
is
is...
gonna...
The
okay, it's not
19th
automatic.
century was exactly
Okay,
100
good.
years for Great Britain, and indeed the whole world. New industry, new technology, and with the birth of the Metropolitan Police Service, new law and order. But these dazzling new developments meant even deeper shadows were cast on society. Water sullied by factories, air thick with noxious fumes and crime, growing daily to fill the darkness. Lord Clint Van Zeeks made it his mission to combat this darkness. But as time went on, it slowly entered his soul, until eventually he was consumed. It's ironic, really, and somewhat surprising, that the truth has once again been unearthed. By a Japanese. Once again? What do you mean? Genshin found out.
Yeah.
10 years ago, your father, Genshin Asagi, turned up to my office one night. The professor!
Yes, beyond all shadow of doubt. You must issue a warrant to search his home at once.
Don't be absurd. The man comes from one of our country's most illustrious families. He's a paragon of justice here in the capital.
Yes, that's the point. That's why none of you British can see it. He's using his noble status as a diversion whilst he commits these atrocious crimes behind the scenes.
Do you have evidence?
Nothing definitive as yet. But he keeps an enormous savage hound on the estate. We need the full support of the judiciary for this. We're up against a member of the aristocracy.
A large family estate has a fierce guard dog. You should know it's commonplace here in Britain. I'm sorry, but I can't possibly put Scotland Yard under this based on on the tenuous accusation of a visiting student.
Ugh.
So I turned down Asagi's plea. And as a result, he took it upon himself to visit the Van Zeeks mansion on his own. We can only imagine now what happened between the two men. Though we know the outcome, of course. Lord Clint Van Zeeks perished. I don't believe this. In actual fact, Kazuma-sama's father did.
I don't think so. He made the late Lord Van Zeeks meet the same fate. He put a permanent end to the professor killings by taking the drastic measure of ending the perpetrator's life.
As soon as I hurried to the mansion. When I arrived, it was easy to grasp what happened. And? What about the will? Asagi must have taken it. Nothing of that nature was found at the scene. I still want the will to be the fucking thing wrapped around Karma.
Yeah.
They just dunked it in red so that the text is like, you can't see the red text because he made it, fucking poured Kool-Aid on it. We have no idea. Had no idea the existence of such a document at that time.
I still think that's not it.
The only person who knew of the true identity of the professor. So, I resolved to keep it a secret and to guard the secret to the bitter end.
So you're admitting to it? That you were behind it all?
It was you, then, who pinned the crimes on my father. I did what needed to be done in order to protect the law and order of the British Empire. Even if that meant employing an unforgivable ruse.
Then it was you who arranged this fabricated evidence.
I ordered the detective to take care of it, whilst keeping the truth from him. Gregson! Obviously, he opposed me at first. I love your rocket. We can't do something like that. There's no question that it was Asagi who murdered Lord Van Zeeks. The house staff had made statements that they saw the man running from the mansion that night.
Yes, well, I've no doubt it was that Japanese fella. Boy, I've got a shred of conclusive evidence against the man. Worse than that, he doesn't keep a dog, so he's throw a murder weapon to boot.
And we're short on time, Gregson. We must put a stop to this man's rampage for the good of the country. So, we'll use whatever means necessary. Do I make myself clear, detective?
Blimey.
So that night, 10 years ago, when I was attacked by those thugs in the back streets, and Genshin's ring was taken. That was him, was it? That was Gregson and some hired help. Then the detective handed the stolen ring to Dr. Wilson, who feigned its discovery from the victim's stomach during that autopsy.
And in the light of that decisive evidence, Mr. Asagi was found guilty of the charges brought against him. However, behind the scenes, he had actually already struck a deal with his accusers, in which he agreed to silently accept the charges.
But I just don't believe that part. As far as I knew the man, my father despised such underhand dealings. It was extremely easy to make him comply. You see, he had one crippling weakness.
What weakness?
Isn't it obvious? You, Kazuma Asagi.
We said we'd kill his 8-year-old if you didn't confess. What?
Me? Even no desire to return to your homeland, Asagi.
What?
Though I hear you have a 14-year-old son. Agreed to cooperate, accept your guilt without contention, and you will see Japan and your son again.
You scoundrel!
Whether you choose wisely or not, it will be a closed trial by order of Her Majesty. So whatever rash claims you might make in court, we'll have no trouble in stifling them. There's only one outcome for you, Asagi. The gallows.
Don't forget that I
Don't
still have a weapon at my disposal. A document revealing a truth that I know you're desperate to keep hidden.
Yes, it hasn't escaped my mind, which is the only reason I'm willing to bargain with you. I only want to protect this country's law and order, you understand? So, what's it to be, Asagi?
Kazuma.
Kalema. He did it for me? As I told him at the time, my motive was simply to protect Britain from the damage the truth would do. To protect this country's law and order at any cost.
Objection!
Uh-oh.
Objection! I've never dared let myself consider the possibility until now. But in the light of all this treachery, I have to ask. The mastermind behind the Reaper of the Bailey. Was it you, Lord Mayor Strongheart? I'll never tell. A rather brilliant idea, wouldn't you say, Lord Varkvanzix? For the spirit of your late brother, that paragon of justice, should have turned to reap justice for his sibling. Could there be a more appetizing tale for London's masses, I ask you? What brazen? I knew you'd play the part to perfection, but your role really wasn't that of some embodiment of death. No, you were London's guardian angel. An angel with bloody hands. Wait, an angel with bloody hands? I think not. Those who cooperated with me already were only too happy to participate in my plan. Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson. My minions worked tirelessly to ensure that the finger of guilt could never come to rest on you. It's all thanks to them that you're exalted as the demigod the Reaper became. But Dr. Wilson left Britain 4 years ago when he was invited to work in Japan. That's right, so I had to employ the services of his young protege after that. Dr. Courtney Scythe.
Dr. Scythe.
So what with the execution of the professor and the subsequent reign of the Reaper of the Bailey? I've successfully safeguarded law and order in our mighty capital for the past decade. That is everything.
Doubt.
I bet it isn't, though.
I bet it isn't, though.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, I do hereby confess, it was I who sired the Reaper of the Bailey. However, let me say in my defense, it was all for the preservation of law and order across the entire empire.
Lord Strongheart did it. An unforgivable collection of crimes, but still. All those who died at the Reaper's hand were rotten to the core anyway. It was all in aid of keeping London safe.
There's no one left now who can reveal the precise truth of what happened 10 years ago. Therefore, this trial can go no further. Now, I would like to entreat all those present. Beyond these 4 walls, nobody need know the truth. Even Her Majesty must be protected
And
from
don't
this.
tell my boss either.
I trust all of you appreciate the importance of my request. It is, of course, for the good of the country.
Can he do this? Can the trial really end now? Hold it. Oh.
Hold it. I have one last question. For the accused, Lord Van Zeeks. What? Of course, I know that you are a highly accomplished prosecutor. So I find it hard to believe that you didn't have any doubts at all. That you never suspected your older brother.
Yes, the same thought occurred to me.
It was only once, but... Yes, I couldn't say that I never had my doubts. My brother's sense of justice was extremely strong. Perhaps too strong, I observed. At that time, there were members of the aristocracy who were breeding the country dry for their own gain. And since they were nobles, they were untouchable. For my brother, it was a great source of turmoil. And coincidentally, at the same time, the professor began his terrifying reign. During the time of the professor killings, my brother did not appear to be himself.
And that made you suspect?
Yes. But it was only once, not more.
Only once. Really?
Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time. And I still believe that now. Do you have evidence? Excuse me. Do you have any evidence to support that idea? The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time.
Oh.
It was he who recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. That will do. Either Clint Van Zeeks nor Genshin still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion.
But
there are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. The war began the ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin. And the 3-page last will and testament penned in black ink and left by the man.
we only have 2 pages,
We have
bitch.
2 pages, yes. Yep, it even
Yeah.
says 1 of 2. The wretched truth. What happened here is exactly as I've explained. Later today, I will present myself at the Ministry of Justice for whatever sanction is deemed appropriate. That is all. Court is adjourned.
Hold it. Somebody say hold it.
Objection!
Objection, thank you. Thank you, Kazuma.
Me?
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made this 11th hour discovery.
What discovery?
My lord, I'm afraid I must insist the trial continues.
I beg your pardon.
As the court has been reminded today already, we must stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth. And to that end, one particular statement made by somebody in this courtroom moments ago revealed a very subtle contradiction.
Contradiction? But all I did was ask the accused one simple question. Well, it began with these windows, right? Began with Lord Van Zeeks. I had to get one more in there. Well, began with Lord Van Zeeks and his recollection about his brother. But Lord Strongheart didn't permit the defendant to speak at length. I merely pointed out that we could draw no further useful conclusions here. So where on earth is the contradiction? He knows.
One of them
He
definitely
caught.
just said something contradictory. It's time to identify who. Strongheart.
It was Lord Strongheart.
Obviously. It was Lord Strongheart, I'm sure of it. Something he said was slightly off. Come on, Ryunosuke, think! Think, Ryunosuke, think! Just gonna.
Voice of Mika Toba in the background.
This was literally like 2 minutes ago. That's why I'm skipping through it.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry, I agree.
Lord Strongheart, would you care to explain?
Explain what, Council?
Among the statements you made just a few minutes ago, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have.
Inconsistent?
And whilst an inconsistency remains, the defense has a right to pursue an explanation.
Ryunosuke, what? Let me warn you about the statements you are making, Council. They may very well prove fatal.
I've only
You
got
claim
the
my
one.
words
You can't threaten me
contain
with
a
more than one
contradiction.
pip when I've only got one left.
With which piece of evidence, I ask you? The Asagi.
The Asagi papers. This here is the will left behind by Mr. Asagi. The 2-paged will.
Oh, what?
Yet moments ago, your precise words were, the 3-page last will and testament.
Ah! 3 is not 2!
Could it be that originally, there was a 3rd page?
For a moment, I thought perhaps you'd identified something worthwhile. But it's a mere trifle, I see.
A trifle?
Governor Caden.
What can I do for you, sir?
Present when the Japanese man penned this last will and testament.
I was a frat for sure. I remember the black wedding like scrolls to this day. And I'm quite certain, my lord, that there was a 3rd page at the time.
What?
Only the first 2 pages were the actual will, though. If I remember correctly, the 3rd was a message to his lad back in Japan.
For legal purposes, we have required only his will.
And we wouldn't have wanted any uncomfortable words about Britain to get back to Japan. So I decided that the 3rd page ought not to be sent.
Objection.
How dare you make that decision? I had a right to know what it said, to hear my father's final words to me. The courtroom is no place for sentimentality, Council.
As it happens, I have the 3rd page of the document with me here now.
Why? What?
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
My father's message. It will be given to you at the end of these proceedings.
It'll be too late once the trial is over. We need to know what it says now. Even the slightest thing may give us a vital clue. My lord, the defense calls for Genshin Asagi's last words to his son to be read out loud before the court now.
Your request is denied. The inevitably maudlin words can be of no consequence now. The prosecution agrees. The court should know the content of that message. Every possible piece of evidence must be thoroughly examined.
Denied again.
Very well then, Governor Caden. You'll read the 3rd page of that document for all present to hear.
Next time. God, we've got to be getting close.
Yep,
Listen,
next time.
I know we keep on being like, man, how is this not over yet already? But like, it's still been good the whole time, so that's fine.
It's been good, yeah.
It's just, it's real long, and we're so
It's
busy.
really long.
We're such busy people with things to do that we can't, like, imagine if we had attempted like 2 weeks ago to try to do this entire thing. We'd be 6 hours in on a Tuesday. No way.
Dude, I'm not even gonna be awake in 6 hours.
I know.
I'm not gonna be awake. I'm not gonna be awake in like 2.5 hours, if I'm being honest. My tummy is telling me it's time for my little mixed nuts, and then to bed. Oh no, I didn't do my cardio. Fuck. I'm
Cardio
so
and
upset
then
now.
to bed.
No.
All right, thanks for
I
watching,
died.
everybody. I think Josh is busy tomorrow night, so I will probably finish up the
I am.
DLC for the Mask of the Golden. No, what's it called? Case of the Golden Idol.
Golden Island?
Yeah. All right. Have
Okay.
a good night, everybody.
Something
Bye-bye.
about a golden idol.
It's gold. It's an idol. Eh. Bye.